Yes, sirree. I'm not freaking blind, guys. It's Squalo style.
I think it's Thursday.
You could die.
Yeah.
Son of a bitch.
Geez, you know, oh yeah, because it goes on and on and on. For all you haters, there's something to chew on for the next couple of minutes.
I love that intro, and that was done by a YouTube buddy of mine, and I'm going to put a link to his channel in the description below, so you can go over there and see more of his amazing work. Like, seriously. Anyway, that's not what this video is about. Back in 1997, this new national security law that Hong Kong has brought in, and everybody's freaking out and saying, well, you know, it's taking the freedom away from the Hong Kong Chinese people. Well, let's skip back 25 years, back to 1997, when Britain was basically forced to give back Hong Kong. It was not forced, but the 99-year lease was up. The Chinese government basically told them that we could take this place in a day, and they decided to leave, and they put in terms and conditions and whatever, and the immigration went wild all over the world. Places like Canada and the UK and the United States, where we're getting all of these people from Hong Kong saying they're taking our freedom away. We've got to get out of here. The world is coming to an end in Hong Kong. That's what they thought in 1997. And what happened? Well, GDP went from, just a second here, I've got it here. GDP went from 26,963 per person in 1997 up to 49,376. So it just about, the GDP during that time period, and that's up to 2022, damn near doubled. Okay, but what about the wages? Well, the wages went from 19,000 per person, American dollars, to 28,000. So it did double between 1997 and 2022. Women were living to the age of 83.2 years, and men at 77.2 years in 1997. Now, the men went from 77.2 years to 83 years. So, like, you're talking more than 5 years longer they're living. Life is getting better. What about the women? Oh boy, 83.2, and they went up to 87.7. So, you know, they went up over 4 years in life expectancy in Hong Kong. So how is that taking away their freedom? Their GDP, their economy is doing better. They're making more money. They're living longer. Yeah, and so I guess what's freedom? Running around the streets, pouring fuel on people that you don't agree with and setting them on fire. Beating them with sticks. This is the type of people that we saw in 2019. What did the Chinese government do during that time period? They tried to stop it without violence. Yes. And this went on for a number of months. The Americans, the Canadians, obviously, you see the trucker convoy in Ottawa, where they started seizing people's bank accounts. They started seizing people's vehicles. They infringed on those people's freedoms in Canada because they were parked in downtown Ottawa because they didn't agree with the COVID rules that they had in Canada. Okay, well, that's taking your freedom away. I would imagine so. In Hong Kong, they had a national security law put in because a guy killed his girlfriend in Taiwan. And they didn't want to have him extradited to mainland China. This is where it all stemmed from, and you can go back on videos that I've done in the past, and it explains all of this, who he was and whatever. But the idea that this national security law came in, and people did the same, freak out, my God, Martha, our freedoms are going to be taken away. Well, what's covered under this national security law? Sedition, is one. You can't try, but these sedition. Look at the January 6th stuff in the United States, where the Proud Boy leader was charged with sedition, and he got 18 years in prison. 18 years in prison. But if China puts in a sedition law in Hong Kong, well, it's taking away their freedom. It's good for the goose, is good for the gander. No, what do you guys think? You know what I mean? What else is covered under it? Subversion. Well, subversion, yes. Well, you know, this should be a law that, you know, trying to subvert the government of Hong Kong, the government of China, should be against the law, and that's a good thing. Terrorism. How can you fight against a law that is banning terrorism in your country, in your city, in your home, your special autonomous region, administrative region? Sorry, or what else? What else does it stop here? Collusion with foreign forces. So having foreign forces come in and try to collude with separatists in the Hong Kong city special administration region is against the law, just like it would be against the law if you did it in the United States or Canada or anywhere else around the world that has laws. And this is what the Hong Kong people that are freaking out and running to the UK saying, well, they're taking our freedom away, we're going to get the hell out of here before. But it didn't happen in 1997, and it's not going to happen today. In 2023, this is like 4 years after well, not quite 4 years, but close to 4 years after this national security law comes in. And has there been a lack of freedom in Hong Kong? No, I was just in Hong Kong here 3 weeks ago, and it's exactly the same as it was before. So all of these people got up, and the UK made a special thing. Well, because, you know, this is British. These Hong Kong people are just like us. They're British. And the Hong Kong people that were against the Chinese government were saying, oh, we're like British people. What? Just a second now. So they go over to the UK, and because they don't have any jobs, they don't have a credit score. People don't know who you are, what kind of person you are. If you're part of the violence that they saw on social media, not on mainstream media, people would probably be pretty leery about these people, because burning people on streets, beating people, throwing Molotov cocktails against police forces, things like this, destroying subway stations, destroying airports, vandalism, all of the things that you saw on social media that these protesters against the security law that China was bringing in Hong Kong, now they're the people that are running to places like the UK.
Hong Kong became what was known as a special administrative region. But in recent years, there have been widespread democracy protests following the introduction of sweeping security laws by China, curtailing people's freedoms. Britain says China has breached security laws under the terms of the agreement under which Hong Kong was handed back. Now, 3 million Hong Kongers and their dependents are eligible for the BNO visa scheme, enabling them to live, work and permanently settle in the UK. Enoch is now homeless and relying on food banks in London. He says he used his savings to survive during lockdown and now can't afford the visa application process.
To be frank, I got a jolly good life back in Hong Kong before the movement. Every single day I'm struggling to about where I'm going to sleep.
In 2019, Enoch and others rallied outside the British consulate in Hong Kong, waving Union Jack flags and singing God Save the Queen.
Let's all pray together for Her Majesty the Queen and United Kingdom.
This is Enoch on the megaphone. He's condemned the visa application process as a scheme for the well-off.
What do you feel towards the British government?
It's like a betrayal.
And when they go there, they can't get jobs. What's your work history? Because of the COVID-19, they're looked at as any other Chinese person, so they're discriminated against. Oh yeah, they don't have a credit score. Nobody's going to rent them an apartment. Nobody's going to hire them, rent an apartment, take them seriously, or whatever. And now, if they don't conform to the UK way of life, they're going to be 86 back to Hong Kong. So when you figured that the UK was going to back you 100% in your endeavors to run away from Hong Kong after you created mass havoc, people were scared to leave their homes in Hong Kong because of what was going on there. The regular Hong Kong people were scared. They didn't want this violence from this minority of people on the streets working with foreign forces to subvert and promote secession in Hong Kong against China. And now that they're gone to these other countries, Hong Kong is a better place to live because you don't have the violence. You don't have the rhetoric. Did people end up in prison over this? Definitely, just like they did on the January 6th United States little dilemma that they had there. And this is the way it should be, because why would your views override the majority's views of that city, administrative area, or country? They simply don't. Laws are put in place for reasons, not only here in Canada, not only in the United States or the UK, not only in places like Liberia and Libya and you name it, but in China also. And Hong Kong, whether people like it or not, is part of China. And that's just the way it is. So when you think that the Chinese people are taking the freedom away from the Hong Kong people, look at what they've done in the past. Look at how they've brought 800 million people out of poverty over the last 25 years. Look at how their lives are getting better. The urbanization of the people, the hospitals that are being built, the schools. When you get the math kids out there, the spelling bees and the math kids and the engineers and whatever, where do you think the majority of those high-end engineers come from? You got it. They come from China. Why? Because they're hardwired that way. It's just the way it is. So when you're looking at the bad, or trying to find the bad in what China's done, a national security law for Hong Kong isn't a bad thing. It's a good thing. It keeps the people safe. It keeps a steady government in that area that isn't prone to being attacked on a regular basis, because if you do attack that government on a regular basis, you'll probably end up in prison for sedition or whatever. It's just one of those things. So I guess that's my rant for the day. When you see violence, like you watch in the back of this video, going on in a place like Hong Kong, when you hear Nancy Pelosi saying, "Oh, what a beautiful sight," when you hear the rhetoric that comes out of the American political elite, and it is the political elite, stating that somehow China's taking the freedom away from the Hong Kong people, no, China's not taking freedom away from the Hong Kong people. What China's doing is protecting the Chinese citizens that live in the city of Hong Kong from the bad guys. And the bad guys are the ones that are doing the vandalizing. The bad guys are the ones that are doing the assaults on the street, burning things, burning people, doing all those things that if they happened here in Canada or in the United States would be frowned upon exactly how they're frowned upon in China, in Hong Kong, China. Anyway, that's another video from Gweilao60. If you like this video, as always, like, comment, subscribe, push that share button. Don't forget to resubscribe. Hit the bell. You know the score. Until next time, peace out. Bye now.